up, show up.
My name is Tony Richard, and I am with SoulGood Talkin, and today I am joined by my co-host,
Tamesia Stevens.
And today is special because we have Bibb County's very own fire safety educator, Mr. Jeremy Webb. And we thought it would be a great idea this time of year. It's starting to get cold, and there are a lot of things that we take for granted. I, for one, it's personal to me because I actually lost my mom to a house fire, October 31st, 2020. A lot of my friends, they don't know it because I never posted it. So now this is your first time hearing this right here. And again, this is why this is so important to me. A lot of things are taken for granted around this time of year because a lot of festivities are going on. And there are a lot of things that are overlooked. Now, I'm not naive to the fact that when it's your time, it's your time. But it's a lot of things that we leave on the table when it comes to prevention. And a lot of things that can be avoided. And today, Mr. Webb, you're going to give us some tips to make sure that this is a safe holiday season going forward, and to bring awareness to fire prevention. So thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
All right. So fires, pretty big deal. This time of year, does it increase? Is there a certain time frame that is worse than others, or is it typically in the cold time frame, or how does it work?
Well, traditionally, wintertime is our peak season for fires.
Okay.
Due to improper heating elements and different things like that. Whereas, with the cold weather, we're pulling out space heaters, and then, holiday time, we're doing a lot of cooking. With Thanksgiving and Christmas time, we have our Christmas trees and our lights and different things like that. So it's very important this time of year, just be mindful of those things. And as daylight savings time just passed, we use that time as a reminder. Change your clock, change your batteries, having working batteries in your smoke alarm. Because, like I said, this time of the year, we're going to do a lot of cooking. Thanksgiving's coming up, and we're going to do turkey frying, and we're going to do a lot of baking in the kitchen. And anytime we're using heat, there's a chance of fire.
Got it.
Definitely. And with the cold weather, it's changing. We have a increase of fires due to space heaters.
Okay.
And giving space heaters space is very important. Giving space heaters at least 3 feet of clearance all the way around it. And so, with Macon being, like I said, a historical town with a lot of older homes, some homes don't have central heating air. So some residents depend on space heaters or kerosene heaters to warm their home. So it's very important to give those elements space, not put it too close to bedding or furniture or different things of that nature, because we see many fires that's caused by those type of elements.
Okay. And not only for furnishing, but also too, because space heaters, a lot of people will plug extension cords in, and they'll have them too close, like right on top of the cord or right close to the cord, which will cause a fire as well.
Yeah. So overloaded outlets. So that's a great point. Overloading your outlets, and then what we call, I say daisy chaining, where you have extension cord after extension cord after extension cord to hook up these different elements and things like that. And they're not built to power something that uses that much current. So we have many homes that go get those real brittle extension cords, and they'll hook one after the other, one after the other, one after the other, and they're not made for that. So space heaters are meant to plug directly into the outlet, not being hooked up off of extension cords.
Got it.
And does that also include the power strips?
Yeah. So power strips is meant to definitely is a good thing to have, because it have what they call a circuit breaker system. So if it does overload, it should trip, supposedly. Some have defects. So you want to make sure you have a UL certified power strip. So definitely check for that. When you purchase it, make sure you're certified. So that means tested and should be approved to work properly.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. So you mentioned about the cooking. So with cooking comes grease fires and things of that nature. And what are some of the quick things to do? Because I do know some people that have tried to put grease fires out with water, and that's not correct. Am I correct?
Definitely. So that's a good thing to talk on, because the number one place that fires start in the home is actually in the kitchen.
Okay.
And due to unattended cooking for the most part, or distracted cooking. So we have many residents we see that start cooking, and they may go outside to get the mail, and they may start talking to a neighbor or get distracted with different things that's going on, and they forget that, hey, I'm in the kitchen cooking, I need to get back to it. Or, maybe their favorite TV show,
Okay.
and they're in the living room watching in the other room, and they forget that they're in the kitchen cooking, or things of that nature.
Okay.
So definitely when you're cooking, staying in the kitchen is very important. Facing pot handles to the side or either towards the back of the stove
Okay.
help with tilting over. If you have small kids and stuff, some of them reach up and grab those handles and they're burnt really bad. So definitely facing your pot handles towards the side or the back of the stove. We talked about grease fires. Never put water on grease fires. And a lot of times when people think about fire, they think about water. That's
Right.
not always the case when it comes to grease fires. Certain things you can use, you can put a lid over it,
Okay.
and that'll smother that fire.
Okay.
Fire needs 3 elements: heat, fuel, and oxygen. If you eliminate any of one of those 3 elements, that fire is going to extinguish itself.
Okay.
So you can smother it with a lid. You can use salt,
Okay.
baking soda,
Okay.
or ABC fire extinguisher.
Okay.
And a lot of residents have these extinguishers in their home,
Okay.
but one of the downfalls to it is they don't know how to use them. They've never
Mm.
used the extinguisher. They've been sitting there for years and
Right.
some years, and they don't know if it even works.
Wow.
So just a small course on this. This is your most common type of extinguisher. It's
Okay.
an ABC multi-purpose fire extinguisher. So it's going to put out classes A, B, and C fires. Whereas your class A fire will be ordinary combustibles like paper, plastic, wood, upholstery. Class B is going to be flammable liquids like grease, gas, oil, kerosene. And class C is going to be electrical fires like outlets and appliances.
Okay.
And on these extinguishers, they're going to have a gauge. Most of them is going to have a gauge. And you want to make sure that arrow is always in the green.
Always in the green. Okay.
So it has 3 zones, a refill, overfill, and a green zone.
Okay.
So one of the problems you'll face with extinguishers, like I said, they'll sit for years and years and years.
Right.
And they have rubber seals under that cap. And after a while, that rubber seal, dry rot, that compressed air seep out of it, and it'll go into the refill zone.
Mm.
So it'll be the pressurized air pretty much seep out of it.
Okay.
So when you go to use it, it'll kind of pretty much droop out. It's not going to work as effectively as it should.
Wow.
So you want to make sure that gauge is always in the green. And this is
Okay.
something you want to check pretty much on a monthly basis.
Okay.
Check your gauge. Make sure your hose is tight fitted, not
Okay.
dry rotted.
Okay.
Make sure it's not obstructed, because you
Okay.
get little dirt dollars and little things that'll build nests and block that flow
Okay.
path. It's full of compressed dry powder and chemicals.
Okay.
So once a month, you kind of turn it upside down and mix that powder up.
Okay.
And then you want to make sure your pin is in place
Okay.
and place it back on the shelf. You want to place extinguishers close to exits, make them visible, place them between 3 to 5 feet from the ground,
Okay.
and that makes it accessible to anyone pretty much in the house. So if you have someone that may have a mobility issue or may be wheelchair bound,
Okay.
they can access that extinguisher as well as anyone else, but it'll keep it out of the way of a small kid from keeping it too low.
Okay.
So you don't want to put them in pantries or laundry rooms and things like that. You want to make them visible, close to exits, 3 to 5 feet from the ground.
Okay.
Anytime you use an extinguisher, you use the PASS method.
Okay.
PASS. Pull, aim, squeeze, and sweep.
Got it.
So on your extinguisher, you have a pin on the side.
Okay.
You'll pull that pin, aim at the base of the fire, squeeze the trigger, and sweep side to side.
Got it.
And you want to make sure when you do that, you're standing between 6 to 8 feet away from the fire.
Okay.
So say if we was talking about grease fires, if you're standing too close and you disperse this extinguisher, it's going to come out at a large amount of pressure. So it may make that grease splatter. The
Wow.
fire is going to spread. It's going to make matters worse rather than helping for the most part.
Wow.
So between that 6 to 8 foot range is a great range to initially attack that fire.
Okay.
So that's some of the education that we provide in Macon Bibb County Fire Department. And actually, we come out and teach those classes.
Okay.
So we go to schools or churches or groups, organizations, or however that may need that service, and we'll come out and we'll actually do hands-on training and show someone how to use their extinguisher. Because, like I said, many people have them, but they've never used them. They've never had a reason to use them.
Right.
But in case of emergency, that's the wrong time to read the instructions.
So what you mentioned about refill. Now, is it best to just where can you go to get a refill, or is it best to just buy another one? And
well, some extinguishers are disposable. They're one-time use extinguishers.
Right.
A lot of those come with a hard plastic housing, and once you use them, you pretty much discard them.
Okay.
Something like this one has a metal housing, and it can be refilled. So it's many places around the area, local area, there to refill those extinguishers for you.
Okay.
So you would call them, no matter if it's Macon Fire Extinguisher or West Fire Extinguisher Service. There's many of them.
Okay.
Just kind of calling some out, and you can Google those places.
Okay.
And you can take them to them, and they'll service them, make sure they're up to compliance, refill them, and give them back to you.
Never knew that. Wow.
Are there any programs for people who may not be able to afford a fire extinguisher?
Now, I'm sure it is some nonprofit groups and different things like that offer that service. Now, in Macon Bibb County, we don't offer the extinguisher thing, but we do have a smoke alarm center.
Right.
So if it was a resident that needed a smoke alarm, we'll actually come out and we'll test the smoke alarms for them. We'll change the batteries. We'll provide the batteries. If need be, we will provide the entire smoke alarm. So that's another incentive that we offer in Macon Bibb County. So if you're a Macon Bibb resident, and even if, like I said, if you live in a house, you may have high ceilings and you just maybe, can't get to it.
Right.
We'll come out and we'll test that smoke alarm for you. And maybe the smoke alarm, the battery's dead. We'll provide the batteries and we'll put new batteries in it. Okay. Or maybe that smoke alarm may be outdated. And some people don't know it. Smoke alarms have an expiration date. So statistics and studies show that smoke alarms, every 10 years, you should replace your smoke alarms. Okay. And a lot of people don't know that. So after 10 years, it's been proven or shown that after that 10-year mark, the sensors start going bad in them. It may take more smoke to set those smoke alarms off than it was designed to, if they even set off at all. Okay. So it's very important to check that date. So on the back of your smoke alarm, you're going to have a date of manufacture. And that's pretty much the date that smoke alarm was made. Okay. 10 years from that date, you should replace your entire smoke alarm. Okay. And one of the telltale signs is when you go in some residence and you see a smoke alarm is brown, that brownish tinge, it's probably about that time. Because what it does is after so long, that smoke alarm starts discoloring. So they start changing colors. So smoke alarms come in white, they should be white. So when they start discoloring, it's probably after that 10-year mark.
Got it. Now, is that the reason why some of the I can't remember the name of it, but some of the smoke detectors that you don't have to change the battery, they last for 10 years? Is that?
Oh yeah. Now they do have 10-year smoke alarms.
Right.
You can't access. It has a battery built in.
Right.
And after that 10-year mark, you just discard it. Put a new one up. Got it. So they're very good to have. You still want to test them on a monthly basis, make sure they're properly working, and all of them will come with a test button. Okay. But after 10 years on those 10-year smoke alarms, you just discard it, put up another one. Okay. And like you were saying too, like for those right there, the fire department to come out. Also, I volunteered for a minute with the American Red Cross. They'll come out as well. So you can reach out to your local fire department or American Red Cross. Let's move out of the kitchen. All right. We know that's a given. I've actually had family members who lost their homes to not cleaning or maybe improper cleaning of the vent for the dryer. So the lint trap and things of that nature. So you have a lot of people that just let it build up and build up. Oh, it's fine. And they just clean out that part right there. But off camera, you were saying what they need to do is. Yeah. So with those dryers, they build up a lot of lint, not only in the inside, but the back of them. So that duct in the back of those dryers should be cleaned at least annually. Okay. So you can pull it back and you can blow it out or suction it out with a bit of vacuum. Or it's companies that actually come out and do it for you. So they do that type of maintenance or that type of service as well. Okay. And like I said, with that, you can Google it. It's a lot of local companies that are around here. Some I was riding the other day and I seen a van. It was wrapped, and that's what they do. They clean ducts. You know, they clean dry vents and things like that.
Okay. Okay.
So and we get a lot of fires because of that, because like you said, most people, like I said, they clean their regular dry vent, but they don't clean behind it ever. And in years, after so many years, it build up, and it build up. And with that heat building up with that lint, it can actually catch fire. So we get a lot of fires because of that as well.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Okay. And while you were talking, I thought about something, but I don't know if this would apply. But so the fire extinguisher, you were saying keep it close to exits and things of that nature. What if the bedrooms are in the back or something like that? Is it okay? I guess it wouldn't hurt to have a fire extinguisher in the back in case you need to run up front because you can't get to that exit because it's blocking. The fire is blocking where you need to grab that from, or whatever the case may be. Does that make sense? What I'm saying? Or
definitely, and it really depends on the layout of your home for the most part. So, and we talked about smoke alarms, but I didn't really hit on the fire escape plan, and it kind of hits hand in hand.
Okay.
And when you utilize and you sit down at the table with your family and you come up with a fire escape plan, you want to notate all your exits in your homes. You want to notate where's your smoke alarms in your home. You want to notate where's your fire extinguishers and know where those extinguishers are so you can access them quickly. Okay. So because fire extinguishers are for small contained fires, nothing major.
Got it.
So you may have 12 seconds of use in that extinguisher. So when you use an extinguisher, it's for pretty much the incipient or the beginning stage of a fire. So maybe a pot on the stove, trash can, nothing too big.
Okay.
And in any fire, the essence of time is always major because the number one killer in fires is actually that smoke inhalation. So we encourage most residents to just get out and give us a call, especially if you've never used a fire extinguisher or anything of that nature. But more so the layout of your home. It just depends on the layout of your home. And some people use extinguishers. They'll put them in the garage. They'll put them in about a front door, back door, in the kitchen, the places where it's more likely to see a fire in the home, especially the kitchen. Okay. That's the most common place to have it because that's the most common place that fires occur is actually in the kitchen. Okay. So we see a lot of people do that. Definitely, anytime you use it, you want to make sure your exit is clear and not blocked. Okay. So we say towards the exit, so on your way out, you kind of see it and it's more so visible. Right. But places like the kitchen is always a very good place to put it. Like kitchens and garages and things like that.
Where do you say to put the smoke alarms? Since we talked about that, where should we put smoke alarms?
So smoke alarms, the best place to actually place smoke alarms is the hallway of your bedrooms, any type of sleeping quarters in your home. Okay. You want to stray away from places like kitchens and bathrooms. Being that in your kitchen, when you're cooking and for boiling noodles and that steam from that, smoke alarms are designed to be very sensitive and detect smoke at the earliest stage possible so it can alert you so you can have an adequate amount of time to get out. Okay. So if you're cooking in the kitchen, it's going to alert it more when you don't need it for the most part. And we see many residents get tired of those smoke alarms going off and they'll take the batteries out or they'll take the smoke alarm down anytime they cook and they may forget to put it back up. Wow. So with that, you want to make sure proper placement is a must. So even if you're in the shower and you have one in the bathroom, that steam will set the smoke alarm off. Wow. So the hallway of your bedroom is the best place. Okay. As added protection, you want to install one inside of your bedroom if you may be a hard sleeper. Okay. If you have a split, your home may be split levels. Maybe the master bedroom is on one end and the guest bedroom's on the other end. Okay. You want to place them on each end of that home. Multiple smoke alarm is always a plus. Okay. There's many people that fall asleep watching TV on the couch. Right. So the living room is a good place to put a smoke alarm as well. Okay. And making sure you have not only smoke alarms are so broad now, so many type of smoke alarms. They have interconnected smoke alarms that are hardwired in. So when one go off, they all go off simultaneously. Okay. So if you're upstairs in your bedroom sleep and it's a fire downstairs, not only will that smoke alarm downstairs go off, the one upstairs will go off and alert you as well. Okay. Mm-hmm. So it's really good to have those hardwired interconnected smoke alarms. They have Bluetooth smoke alarms now. Wow. So they don't have to be hardwired in. It'll actually send a signal from the smoke alarm downstairs to the one upstairs. And it'll notify you on your phone and say upstairs smoke alarm going off or downstairs smoke alarm going off. They have dual smoke alarms that detect smoke and carbon monoxide. Okay. And they have smoke alarms that talk to you. So if you have small kids, it'll say, it's a fire, get out, beep, beep, and it, so it's you have
That's
to find
good.
the right one that fits you and your
family.
family in the best layout for you all for the
Got it.
most part.
And you mentioned carbon monoxide.
Yeah.
What about those detectors? Do you guys recommend having those separate outside of the smoke detectors?
Definitely have a carbon dioxide detector in your home. Reason being, most time, people think, okay, I don't have a gas firing appliance, because carbon dioxide pretty much is for the misfiring of any type of gas firing appliance.
Mhm.
It's gonna pick that up. But say even if your house is totally electric, you may have a garage attachment on your home. And if you have small kids, and now all cars we have are pretty much remote start. You have small kids, and we've seen it where small kids will play with their remote, and they'll crank up that car in the garage, and you don't know it's running. And there's secret carbon dioxide in that home without knowing.
Wow.
So that's some of the things that we don't think about on a daily basis,
Right.
but it happens.
Right.
So it's very important. It's good to have carbon dioxide detectors. I mean, and place them throughout your home as well. I mean, it's very important to have those as well, especially if you have any gas firing appliance or anything like
Right.
that. But even if you don't, it doesn't hurt to have a couple of those in your home as well.
Okay. Definitely by the bedrooms and maybe kitchen. Let's say like me, I have a gas stove. And I have a gas hot water heater. So definitely hot water heaters upstairs, stove. So having on however many levels you have in your house.
Definitely. Each level of the home.
Okay.
Definitely each level of the home. And same thing with smoke alarms. If you have a multi-story house, a two-story house, you want to have smoke alarms upstairs and downstairs on the primary floor.
Got it.
And just like that with your fire escape plans. And we was talking about having a plan. You have to, have a plan in your home.
Okay.
And this is very small and maybe kind of hard to see, but it's the basic gist of layout of what a fire escape plan is.
Okay.
You're gonna mark your primary way out.
Okay.
You're gonna have a secondary way out. So you're gonna have 2 ways out of each room, if possible. 2 ways out of each bedroom.
Okay.
You want to have a designated meeting place on the outside of the home.
Okay.
It's very important to have that because we've seen cases where, mommy and daddy's out and they're in the front yard and the kids out there in the backyard. But mommy and daddy think the kid's still in the house and they run back in looking for them and they potentially get hurt.
Wow.
And we don't want that. So a designated meeting place that everyone in the home know about. So when we pull up in the fire truck, we know everyone's out, everyone's safe. We know how to attack the fire from there.
Right.
So it's very important to have an escape plan and knowing that escape plan. And almost like schools have a fire drill every month where they practice what to do, how to get out,
Where to
single
meet.
file line, meeting place on the outside.
Right.
Same thing in your home. You want to do that. You want to exercise this plan and get your kids used to it. And if you live in a house, and in every household is the dynamics are different. Maybe your kids on the weekends may stay with their grandparents.
Okay.
Right.
They should have a fire escape plan at grandmama's house, just like they do at your house.
Okay.
Right.
And they should practice that plan as well. So you in the fire department, we actually come out and we'll help you implement a fire escape plan in your home
For free.
for free.
Wonderful.
No charge at all. All of the services we provide is zero cost. So it never hurt to call and say, hey, we're not sure where our meeting place should be at. Or we're not sure if our smoke alarms work. Or I hear a chirping sound all throughout the day. I don't know what that means. And a lot of people don't know what that means. That's a low battery indicator. So if you hear chirping sounds every few seconds, that smoke alarm does it maybe every 60 seconds. It'll chirp, little silent chirps.
Yeah.
That lets you know that the batteries in your smoke alarm are going low. That's a low battery indicator. The power's low on that battery. And eventually you won't hear that chirping noise. And that battery's dead. And that smoke alarm is not going to work.
Right.
So most fire deaths we see in homes or fire injuries are because they don't have working smoke alarms.
Wow.
And like I said, and some have smoke alarms, but they just don't work. They outdated. The batteries have simply went dead.
Right.
And things of that nature.
Right. Another thing. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to ask, I know we're talking about the fire prevention plans for homes. What about apartments? Because I've noticed a lot of fires and deaths. One, I believe in the last year or so, that I remember, a mother and daughter died in an apartment.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got others around and they may not necessarily have, I guess, for the complex plans like this. So do you recommend maybe apartment communities doing something like this where you have multiple families?
Oh yes, definitely. Because when you are in an apartment, you're in a way responsible for multiple people around you.
Mhm.
You know, with apartments, you might have one above you and one below you and one beside you on each end,
Right.
you know, depending on how big the magnitude of people that apartment complex hold. And so when one person has a fire, it affects everyone in the
Right.
complex.
Mm-hmm.
So, so it's very important, I said, to try to have a plan just in case that does happen, because you just never know when it may happen, because you may be just fire safe 100%, but your neighbor below you may not be, or the neighbor above you may not be.
Right.
So having a plan and exercising that plan and getting out as quick as possible is very good. And one thing with the cooking safety, with a lot of apartment complexes I've seen used now, is these little fire stops, because we talked about fire start in the kitchen, and the one place they start in the kitchen. A lot of apartment complexes and tenants, they'll utilize these right here within there. So this is what we call a fire stop. And what that does is magnetize to the oven or somewhere above the stove, or you can drill it in and you can magnetize it to it. And what it does, if you did have maybe a grease fire on the stove, it gets so big, it'll light that little wick on fire and then it explodes. So it almost acts as a mini fire extinguisher, and it'll mitigate maybe a stove fire or something like that. You know? So a lot of complexes are doing that. We partner with a lot of them in doing drills and talking about kitchen safety with the tenants and things like that. You know.
Okay. Good stuff. So circling back, I know you mentioned before 2 ways to get out of a room. Now, so you got the door, and then you have a window. Sometimes that window 2-3 stories high. What do you recommend for those?
Okay. So if you live in a multi-story house or structure, you can use this fire escape ladder. Okay. So what this does is, a lot of residents, they utilize this in their fire escape plan. So say if you did wake up in the middle of the night and you crawl because you want to get low because smoke rises, so you crawl to your door, and maybe that door is locked, jammed, you can't get out through there, or maybe it's found on the other end, because we teach kids and even adults to touch the door, rub the door at the back of their hand. So keep sleep with your doors closed. It'll take longer for that smoke to get to you. And if it's hot, it's found on the other end, go to your secondary way out. So with your secondary way out may be a window, and you may be on the second floor of the house. So you will grab your fire escape ladder from under the bed, you'll pull it out, you'll hook this ladder on the outside of the window. And what it does is, it'll hook on the outside of the window, and you'll unclip it. And once you unlatch it, it'll pretty much drop down to the ground and allow you to climb out to safety without potentially getting hurt. So you pretty much, you can get these ladders from like Home Depot, Lowe's, different places like that. And we got this one off the shelf, I believe, at maybe in Home Depot, I believe. It was Lowe's, one of those big box stores, and it was actually on the shelf. It was pretty expensive. I think it was like maybe $30 or less or something like that, you know. And you can get them, and you can order them off Amazon, eBay, and different places like that. And they cater to, you know, they have heavy duty ladders with steel cables, or you know, this is pretty much the minimum package of what you would get just for we can go out and just show people what they look like and what they do for the most part.
And it's best to have one maybe in every bedroom. I guess that's on a higher level or whatever, just in case you can't get to, like maybe for the kids, in case they can't get to mommy and daddy's room or something like that. Then they can use it, and you can show them in the fire prevention plan how to use it. And this is what you show your kids, right? I guess it definitely wouldn't hurt.
Yeah, definitely. So if you have multiple bedrooms upstairs, I would keep one in each bedroom. Yeah. And if, like I said, on the weekends, if you have guests coming over, I would talk to them, tell them, hey, if something ever happened, this is where the ladder is. This is how you use it. This is our mean place. So it's very important to communicate with those people, those guests. Even now, I said, with the holidays coming up with Thanksgiving, you're going to have multiple people in and out the house. Some people have residents coming from out of town. They stay in the weekend for the holidays, different things like that. They don't know what the extinguishers are. They don't know what the escape ladder. They don't know the mean place. If something happened, in a way, it can be a disaster. So you want to communicate with them and tell them and talk to them about it.
Got it. Good stuff. Now you were saying, like, this is what type of month this is right here? You were saying like cooking month, fire prevention month, or it was something I think you were saying off camera with the
Okay.
Development or
October is actually our fire prevention month. So we're
October.
So October is our fire prevention month, but it's based on cooking safety. So our theme this year, NFPA, the National Fire Protection Association, every year comes out with a theme for fire prevention month that we kind of spread the word on. And because fires start in the kitchen, no one places fires start in the kitchen. They targeted towards kitchen safety this year.
Okay.
So it says kitchen safety starts with you. And unattended cooking is a big ordeal when it comes to fires in the kitchen.
Right.
So some of the things you can use in is something as simple as just setting a timer. So if you're going to be out of the kitchen, set a timer so it'll kind of alert you to say, okay, I need to check on this food. Now with smartphones, you can pretty much in a way just set a timer on your phone. Simple as that. We've seen many residents, something as simple as walking around with an oven mitt. It kind of keeps you on track. As a parent or as an adult, sometimes you got a million things going on. You're checking on the kids, you're helping with homework, you got phone calls coming in.
Right.
It's easy to get sidetracked.
Right.
So something to keep you on track may be something simple, like I said, an oven mitt, a timer, and things like that.
Okay.
Unattended cooking happens more often than what we think.
Got it. Okay. Now another thing too. One thing that we implemented, and again, I mean, it is what it is. One thing that we did, because my mom, in her older age, she started falling a lot. So me and my sisters, we put cameras in the house. So I say that to say that's another line of defense that you could put up for like your loved one, your mom or your aunt, somebody that's elderly, to kind of monitor what they have going on in certain rooms and things of that nature, to watch out for fires. And like a lot of safety alarms, they come with the smoke detectors that are automatically called the fire departments. Things of that nature. Okay.
So they're monitored, like you have services, Vivint, ADT. If it's monitored, they're automatically dialed directly to 911 dispatch. No matter if it's a medical emergency, a fire emergency, it's someone breaking in, different things like that. So it's really good to have those as well. And as we talk about senior citizens or senior adults, one of the things that they may experience is some of them have difficulty hearing. So they may need a certain smoke alarm to help them.
Right.
So like even when you go into commercial buildings, you have horns and strobe, you have lights. So if you ever see in a commercial structure or even schools, you'll see if the fire alarm go off, you'll see lights blinking. And those give visual indicators to someone that can't hear as well.
Okay.
They give a visual indicator. And they also have smoke alarms that have shakers built in, what they call shakers, bed shakers. And they if the fire alarm go off, it'll actually vibrate or shake the furniture. So it'll alert them and wake them up, let them know it's a fire emergency going on. So depending on, I said, the dynamics of your household may be different. So you have to find the best smoke alarm that fits those dynamics.
Good deal. Good deal. Wow. That's a lot in a nutshell right there. Is there anything else that you would like to leave the audience with? You made a good point about parents getting out, kids in the backyard, parents in the front yard. You were saying off camera about how you would, if you don't have a designated meeting place, you'll have kids running back in to get the dog or kids running back in. So making sure to tell them about the importance of, hey, get out, stay out, or whatever, and teaching that to their kids, or people running back to get, the photo album, and things of that nature, or whatever the case may be.
Yeah. So it's very important, very, 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 very important. I can't stress it enough to get out and stay out. We have so many residents, some kids, some adults that have run back in trying to save different things. I mean, kids, they'll go back in for the PlayStation or a certain pair of shoes or certain things. Even you have senior adults, the memories. Some people lose everything in a house fire, so they may go back in for a photo album. You know what I mean? Some people, everything they have is in that home. So, not stressing enough to get out and stay out. We lose so many citizens and get injured because of going back in and thinking they have that split second to grab this and get out and get overcome by that smoke. It's so important to get out, stay out, call us. We have the proper training and equipment to go in and extinguish that fire and recover it.
Okay.
Making bill, and I was telling you off camera, and not the toot our horn in the department. It's a great department, not because I just work here, because it's a great department.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've been here 14 years plus, and we have a great response time. I mean, we have multiple stations. We have over 22 fire stations, over 400 fire personnel.
Okay.
They're standing by at any time to respond at the drop of a dime to come to your house. I mean, if you live anywhere in Macon, you probably pass 2-3 stations on your way home.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
That's true.
So, I mean, the quicker you get out and call us, the quicker we can come and mitigate that fire emergency.
Right.
You know, and it's because you can't replace your life. You can't. You don't get one life. You can't replace that.
Right.
And I know you mentioned earlier about Red Cross.
Right.
And like I said, some people lose everything in a house fire.
Right.
And Red Cross is a great organization because they do assist and help with relocating of, maybe a shelter in place and different things of that nature, or food and shelter and things like that. So they're a great organization with help as well.
Okay. So, again, Christmas trees, fake ones, real ones. Do you see a lot of fires with those type deals, like with Christmas trees or fake trees? Or
you know what? With the artificial trees now, they make them where they're flame resistant.
Okay.
So it's really, really hard. We actually did a demo last year where we actually lit a live tree on fire. And that's something we do annually, just doing demo just to show people what happens. And then we tried to light an artificial tree. Man, I tell you, we put a torch to it, it wouldn't light. So artificial trees now, just making sure you have a flame resistant artificial tree. Now some have trees that they've had for 20 years that they pull out the attic. So you have to make sure it's a flame resistant artificial tree. Because a lot of the new ones have LED lights. They don't heat up. They don't get hot. They're flame resistant. So a lot of the newer technology, it's best to have rather than the older ones that have the older bulbs that still heat up and get hot and things like that.
Wow.
Now, if you're going to use a live tree, which we've used a live tree for years, you have to keep it watered. It's easy. They dry out so easily. You have to water those trees. So make sure they are watered. Make sure you're keeping them away from vents. Because those vents can dry them out. You have your heat on in your home and you have a tree right above it. It's going to dry that tree out a lot quicker. So it's more prone to a fire. So just definitely making sure you water those live trees, keeping them away from your vents or any heat related source. Is very, very important as well.
Never thought about that. Close to the vents.
It's something good to think of. I know when we think about placement of trees, we want to put them close to the window so everybody can see. But making sure they're away from those heater vents. Even your decorations for Christmas, we have people. They still use a lot of residents still use fireplaces. And we want to put the stocking over the fireplace so Santa can see it and feel it. But you got to think the heat that fireplace produces. With that. So if you're going to use your fireplace, be mindful that heat can catch those stockings as well. So given that, and even if you have a fireplace, you want to inspect those, get those things inspected annually as well by a licensed chimney sweeper. They need to be cleaned annually.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's some good information for residents as well.
Right. Chimney sweeping. Right. A lot of times you just keep flaming it up year after year. Everything.
Not even think about it.
And that soot builds up in it. And you wouldn't think a fireplace can catch on fire, but it actually can. So you want to get that inspected and cleaned annually. If you're going to use a fireplace, use a child safety restraint fence around it. Is very helpful for pets, for children, so they don't get burned and things like that. Because you have pets that run around the house and kids chasing them, and we see a lot of burns because of that. So a safety fence around it can help as well.
Wow. Is there anything else that kids get into? I think we pretty much maybe have covered, well, not everything, but I didn't think about that. A lot of people with the remote start cars, kids will start it up in the,
That's right.
Oh, wow. That
that, and when we hit on outlets, if you're not using outlets, having those child plastic covers over your outlet, because we've seen kids that stick things in those outlets as well.
Right.
So having those little plastic tabs over your outlets that you're not using helps with keeping that risk down as well.
Okay. Now also too, like I know a lot of older homes, the outlets aren't grounded. So I guess it goes to say it needs to be, if you have a house like that and your outlets aren't grounded, have them updated.
Yeah, it's definitely a help. I mean, you have, like I said, Macon has a lot of older homes. It's a historic town. And you have some houses still have the old school fuse panels that's just screwed in. And what we see with that is that's older than me, some of those homes. So, I mean, even with that, we see a lot of residents that can, I don't want kind of rig them up in a way, you know what I mean? So they'll take that fuse out there, put something in it so the current will never trip. Because when those fuses blow, you have to go to the store, buy another fuse, put it in.
Correct.
Go to the store, buy another fuse, put them in. And instead of doing that, they may put something in there that shouldn't be in there so that current never trips, because that fuse trip when it's too much current going through. So it'll trip to stop that from those wires from overheating.
Okay.
So if you put something in that to make it not trip, those wires going to keep getting hot and it's going to catch fire.
Got it.
So it's very important not to tamper with that. If you want to upgrade those components in your home, to call out a licensed electrician to do so.
Okay. All right. Good deal. You mentioned about people being able to call the fire department to, come out, check fire, smoke detectors, and also help with the escape plan. There's a non-emergency number that they can call for, right? Or
definitely. Okay. So if you have any questions on that, or you need that service, or maybe you know someone that needs that service, right? You can call our fire administration number. Okay. 478-751-9180.
Good deal. And we'll have that attached to the link as well. Officer Webb, you gave us a lot to help hopefully get us through safely during this holiday season. And we'd love to have you back, and hopefully in a different light, talking about something a little more uplifting, like, hey, the numbers went down because, safety, was the number one priority that people, placed on it. And let's see that this thing right here is working. So we appreciate you. Thank you for being here.
Well, thank you for having me.
All right, good deal. SoulGood Talking. Thank you guys for tuning in. We'll see you soon.